Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary and high school age. Today I am going to be sharing my March goals progress as well as what I have on tap for April. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so if you have not seen my quarterly refresh video, I posted that yesterday. I will leave it linked for you. Kind of goes over the quarter as a whole, the first quarter as a whole, and what I have planned for the next couple of months, because I do have a shortened second quarter of just April and May. And that is primarily because I don't set new goals in December. So I shorten up my spring season, and in Maine, generally summer is June through August anyways, so it works out really well to shorten the spring season. Now, March was not the best, and if you've been watching any of my videos, you will know that our basement flooded, and that really threw a wrench into our plans. So it has been a very chaotic month. It's been a very chaotic first quarter, to be real honest. And I have made some progress on some goals and not as much progress on others, and probably not as much progress overall as what I would like. And coming into this next season, I know that I have very little time to put towards new goals. And so I've really had to step back and understand the next couple of months and not overplan, because when I overplan, obviously I'm going to have to cross things off, and I don't want to feel bad or think that I'm not making progress because I'm crossing things off. That's just the nature of goal setting. Things come up, things that you cannot anticipate, and especially when you're doing more long-range planning, you will never know everything that's going to happen, unfortunately. And so you do kind of have to have a little bit of flexibility with your goals. I don't set a lot of finish line goals where I have to do X by a certain date. There are some things that end up being time bound, like doctor's appointments or maybe home projects if we're hiring somebody, or something specific like homeschool graduation type stuff, or homeschooling, finishing the year on a particular date, vacations. Those types of things are time bound. And you work as much as you can to meet those deadlines, but I don't tend to spend a lot of time setting those time-bound goals, because I just have understood over the course of my life that things come up, and I would rather be making forward progress in particular life directions. I feel better about goal setting that way. There is less disappointment when I'm not meeting maybe benchmarks for some particular reason. I'm still making progress, and recognizing that progress is the most important part to me. So I want you guys to remember that even during busy seasons, you can still make a little bit of progress, but don't beat yourself up if you're not able to accomplish a ton of stuff. So first I'm going to go through my March goals, which I actually made a lot of progress. And could I have made more progress? Absolutely. Was some of the progress not what I had planned? Again, absolutely. But I decided to give myself credit for a few things just based on meeting the goal or the project completion, just maybe not in the way that I had expected. So the first thing was decluttering. And I had 4 areas that I wanted to declutter. That was the kids' clothes, kids' books, the homeschool books in the basement, and the unfinished basement. Well, because our basement flooded, I was able to really declutter the basement quite easily, and that was really good. The flood was not, but getting the basement cleaned out was good. Organizing the homeschool books, when I wrote that down for March, my plan was to move all of the homeschool books from some shelves in one section to some brand new shelves that we purchased. However, we lost all the shelves because of the flood. We did not lose the books. I did organize the books and sort them. They are just in bins, not on bookshelves. And so I did give myself credit for that. The kids' clothes we did go through, and a lot of those clothes were on the floor in the basement in bags that needed to be thrown out after the flood. Because I was going to try and do a yard sale. But I gave myself credit for that because we had done it. We also trashed them. And then kids' books, we also went through. There are probably some more book related things that we can do up in the kids' bedrooms, but for the most part, I feel really good about all of the progress that I made with decluttering. Not exactly what I wanted, but it was still kind of done. The next thing on my monthly action items was my Florida album, and I did not do this at all. I thought that I would, but part of it was I need to buy a couple of new albums, and I didn't do that. And that's probably the step that I should have written down first, not just Florida album, like I was going to easily put the pictures in. The pictures are all organized. All I have to do is slide them into picture sleeves, but I don't have the photo albums, so I can't do that until I actually purchase them. And I have not taken the time to go and do that. Maybe I will work on that some this next season. It's not on my quarterly action plans, but it is possible that I will get to it at some point. The next thing on my monthly action items was my annual checkup, which I did, and I'm pleased about that. I often will end up canceling or rescheduling appointments for myself because things come up with the kids, but I really prioritize making sure that I got to this appointment this month, and so I'm pleased about that. The next thing on my monthly action items was what do I want to create, and I was kind of trying to figure out what are the hobbies that I want to focus on, and I'm still a little unsure. I did give myself full credit because I think that primarily what I want to be doing this year is focusing on memory making, photos and photo albums and that kind of thing. I do want to get back to knitting and gardening and sewing and all of the handcrafts that I love to do, but I just don't feel like it's the season for me to be working on that. And I think part of it is a little bit of just the feelings that I have surrounding Emma graduating this year. Even though she's graduating a year early, she's not going away to college in the fall. It's going to be a big shift in dynamics in our household. And so just focusing on doing some fun activities and then keeping track of the pictures, printing them out, actually getting them into photo albums, journaling about the events, that's what I want to focus on. So I gave myself full credit because it was just considering what I wanted to work on. Create is my word of the year, even though I also think slow ought to be my word. I might change my word to slow, but create is a focus that I've wanted to have for about this past 6 months, but I just didn't know what I wanted to create. And so I did get some clarity this month as I was going through all of our stuff and getting rid of things and all of that. So I'm pleased about that. The next two were relating to my homeschooling goal, and that was having a meeting with Emma, which I did. We are probably going to continue meeting weekly to kind of plan out next year. There are just so many options with this gap year, which is great, but it's also a little stressful because there are so many options. But I did have a meeting with Emma, and we ended up doing a video interview. If you're interested, I will leave that linked in the description box. It was a lot of fun chatting with her about her homeschool career and her feelings about everything. The next thing was order diploma, and I've done that. The next thing was my monthly reset / 13th week. I'm in the middle of my 13th week right now. I have all kinds of vlogs and content coming up over the next couple of weeks. In fact, I think Friday I have my kind of preview weekly vlog of what I'm doing this week during my quarterly reset 13th week, resetting my goals, kind of new direction stuff. So stay tuned. I'm really excited about that. So I gave myself full credit. The next thing that I had on my list was to revisit my home management tasks, which I have done. And that was mainly looking at the weekly home projects in the Passionate Penny Pincher Home Planner, which I did. It was also looking at my daily, weekly, monthly, seasonal task list. And I did that, and I've gotten everything done the way that I want it to be, but I do need to put it into a neater format. I'm kind of waiting until the new planners come out, and then I will put it in my new weekly planner when I get that, hopefully soon, because I think that's where I want to keep that information. The last thing on my monthly action items was to print pictures, and that is relating to my creative goal, but it is a habit that I'm trying to implement, that at the end of the month, I come into my phone, I print all of the pictures that I want to keep, delete what I don't want, and transfer anything that I want to keep as a digital file onto an external hard drive. Over the years, I've lost a lot of pictures due to computers crashing. I used to have all of my pictures stored digitally on the Kodak website. They used to allow you to upload photos there, like from like a USB drive or your camera card or whatever. And I had uploaded a lot of photos there, and then that site went out of business or closed, and I never received emails about them closing, and lost all of those pictures from like early 2000 to maybe 2005, 2006. So that was a bummer. And then I lost pictures from like 2010 to 2013 because one of my children dropped a water bottle on my computer and it fried it, and I couldn't get the pictures off of the hard drive. So I want to have a better plan for getting pictures off of digital devices and into albums, because like my mom has all of our pictures in albums over the years, and it's so fun to look at those, but I don't have those and I want to. So I do have some. I have some albums, but I want to do more of that. So printing pictures I did. For my weekly action items, I had passion projects, which we did every week, screen free day, which we didn't do the first week, but we did the next 3 weeks. The day out, that was doing some sort of get out of the house and do something fun. The first week we couldn't because there was snow. The second week it flooded. We did the last 2 weeks though, so that was good. Then weekly planning, I did 3 out of 4 weeks. Sabbath rest on Sunday, I did all 4 weeks. Homeschool planning, I did 3 out of 4 weeks. And homeschool brainstorming, I did every week. So I felt good about all of those weekly rhythms. The ones that I didn't do on a week, it was because of the flood, and I just said, nope, we're just going to skip that. Then for my daily habits, I had read every day, which I did. I had my 1 line a day journal, which I did. And I had walk, which I have done quite well. I missed like 4 or 5 days when we had the flood because our treadmill is in the basement, and we didn't lose the treadmill, thankfully. It did not die, but it wasn't set up. And so once I got it set up, I started walking every day again down there. Even 10 minutes on the treadmill, I count as a walk. It is not about the length of time or the miles or the steps or anything like that. It is just getting on the treadmill. Even if that is 10 minutes of me in my pajamas walking down there, that counts. It's just about getting on the treadmill. So because I don't like going down there, especially now, I really don't like going down there because it is just a mess. But hopefully soon it will be nice out and I can start walking outside. The last 2 things on my daily action items / habits were the 5-year journals, which I purchased to write in for my kids. I have done terribly with that, and I just don't know when to do it. I had put it on my daily habits thinking that I would just choose 1 day a week that I would do it. I really wanted on my weekly rhythms, but I didn't have any more space in that section, so I did put it on my daily habits. The second week, it was the flood stuff, and the third week, it was more flood stuff. And then I just said, I haven't done it at all. I'm just not going to do it. The same thing with tracking my time. I had planned to start tracking my time the second week in March, and that was when we had the flood, and so I did not track it at all. That's okay. And that's tracking my time for work-related tasks. It is a work goal. It's mainly so that I understand how much time I'm spending on specific things throughout the day, because I am trying to figure out a way to take a 6-week break this summer, and how I can front load a lot of stuff so that I can still do that break without everything breaking when I'm on a break. So that is my March. I feel pretty good about things. Could things have gone better? Absolutely. If I hadn't had a flood, probably things would have been much better, but it is what it is, and we are moving into the second season. I did already do my April goals. Yesterday was my refresh day for my goals. That's when I did my quarterly action plans and my April goals, and kind of brainstorming for May as well. I almost felt like I didn't need to do a tending list for April and May, that I just wanted to work off my action plans, but then I decided I would do the tending list. So I'm hoping that I can get through all of these things. We will see. If anything else happens to the house, I just don't know. I don't know. But my quote was not really a quote, but it was something that I wanted to remember. It's only a season. And this was mainly because I am so busy this season. I know that I'm not going to be able to get a lot done. I need to prioritize rest so that I don't get burnt out and then end up being sick during the summer. It happens more often than it should, I think. So I want to focus on rest so that I don't want to plan all this stuff so that I can take a big break and then be sick for the whole time. You understand. And then my priority, rest when I can. And again, that's just because I am straight out for the next 2 months. Wednesday is the only day that I don't have anything going on for the next 2 months. Every other day we have appointments. And there are a handful of Sundays and Fridays that we don't have specific plans, but most every day we're busy. So the first thing that I have on my monthly action items is passports. This is something that I had wanted to do in January and had planned to do, but then we all got sick and we couldn't do it. February, I just didn't feel like I could make the appointment in February because we were trying to catch up from January, and then in March, I thought I would make the appointment, but then our basement flooded. So I have it on my list. I have an appointment to go in for all 5 of us. We'll see. It is very expensive to get passports, FYI. The next thing on my list is homeschool planning for 2025-2026, and I have that actually as one progress bar, but then I have Jack and Lucy as separate projects as well. So if I get all of Jack's stuff done, I'll still get half credit for homeschool planning, even if I don't get all of Lucy's stuff done. Purchase curriculum. Ideally, I will be done with purchasing curriculum by the end of April so that in May I can kind of go through everything, start to look at the schedule, when we're going to start school, how I'm going to manage the days, if we're going to set up our year as the 6 weeks on, 1 week off, if we're going to do a more traditional public school type schedule because Emma is not going to be homeschooling, if we're going to be doing travel, all of that stuff. I kind of want to spend May figuring that stuff out. So I want to have all the curriculum purchased and start to be able to go through everything in May. I need to register Emma for the SAT in April for, I think I could either do May or June dates. I think it's the date, you just have to do it by the middle of April. I have to look and see. I think we'll probably do the June one because May is so busy already. I have my monthly reset day on here, which is going to be early in April. It's April 24th, which is very early. It is the last Thursday of April. I almost considered doing it on May 1st, but I think by the time I get to April 24th, I am going to be ready to set up May. I've already done a lot of setup for May as far as my calendar goes and the Family Command Center calendar, so it's going to be a lighter monthly reset, but getting my goals done, kind of resetting the house and getting ready for another busy month is what that day will entail. And then on the last monthly action item that I have is my master bedroom closet. And if I can get through that, I will be very, very happy. If I can do more decluttering projects, great. If not, just the master bedroom closet, and that's mainly going through all the clothes that we have in there. And I would like to get some new bins or baskets because we have shelves in there. When we moved in, number one, we had no closets in our previous house. I know that sounds funny, but there were no closets. I had 2 armoires. One held our homeschool stuff and one held clothes for us. And then my husband hung up some wire shelves in our bedroom that we could hang clothes on, but there were no other closets. So that was chaos. And so when we moved into this house, we just put everything in the closet, but it's not well organized, and I haven't spent the time to organize it or make it nice or anything like that. I mean, I don't spend any time in there. It just holds our clothes, but I would like it to be a little bit neater, and yeah, it's just not. And honestly, it needs to be painted too. It has like an old paint color, and they repainted the bedroom, but they never redid the closet. So there's like holes in the wall and stuff. I mean, it's functional, but it's not very nice, and I would like it to be nicer. So if I can get all of the garbage out of there and go through the clothes, especially my husband, he doesn't throw away anything. And so he has a lot of clothes that he really doesn't need, clothes from probably college that still fit him and are just destroyed, but he keeps them anyway. So I'm going to encourage him to clean out his stuff as well, but it's mainly focused on my stuff. Then to the weekly rhythms. Homeschool planning. This is not homeschool planning like my typical planning out the week, what we're doing in homeschool, but brainstorming for next year. So I have it both as a monthly action item as well as a weekly rhythm so that I am focusing on it weekly and trying to put time in each week to getting the homeschool planning done. The next two things are Sabbath rest and weekly planning. I do have some events on Sundays this month, but I'm going to try and take as much of Sunday as I can to rest. That is my plan. Then for my daily habits, these are all things that I have been doing and I just want to continue doing them. And they're all related to my health and wellness goal, which is to create a wellness rhythm that balances health, joy, and creativity. And so those things are walk, read, my 1 line a day journal, and then tracking. And this is not the tracking that I talked about in March for my work tasks. This is tracking my food, my workouts, my weight, any other health symptoms that I have. That's the kind of tracking that I'm talking about. It is something that I've been doing right along. I recently purchased an N1 monthly booklet from Sterling Inc. and absolutely love that for keeping track of my health related stuff. So those are my April goals. Even though I said it's not a lot, it kind of seems like a lot. And so we'll see how it goes. Again, the priority is really the homeschool planning and continuing my daily habits. And so we will see. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're looking for more help and encouragement around home and homeschooling and goals, I would love for you to come check out my membership community. That link is always in the description box. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.